Hello and welcome. I hope you're safe and well. In today's exciting episode, I go visit a fabric store. It's called Spotlight and it's in Australia. And actually, I spent ages, it's got so much footage in there that I've decided to split it into two parts. So we'll go visit the store, I'll chop it off halfway through, show you half the fabric I bought. And then in part two, you'll see the second half of the store and the second lot of the fabric that I bought. Yeah, they had the most gorgeous flower section as well. I was very tempted, very, very tempted. But I got thread, but mainly I just got fabric. Anyway, let's do this. It's perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Perfect jacket. So we are back in the city of Melbourne in Australia. The sun is shining. And last time I showed you Lincraft fabric store. And this time we are going to another fabric store called Spotlight. It's just across the river. So yeah, this is just a reminder, and I'll put a card up if you haven't seen that one. And you can go see that. This tulle, this netting is absolutely beautiful. Anyway, so I exited that building and you just sort of have to walk down the end of this street, cross a bridge, and then just walk a little bit and you get to this is the building that I'm absolutely in love with. Don't you think it would be absolutely adorable to live there? A little noisy perhaps, but I don't know. It's kind of way above the street, so it's so cute. Anyway, and this is what Melbourne city looks like. There's a mix of it's a gold rush town, sort of like. So some buildings are really old, and you can see they just got them at, like, the gold fields were a little bit further away in regional Victoria, like in regions of the state, and then once they found their gold, they'd come to Melbourne and build beautiful buildings. So yeah, the municipal buildings are all quite big. So this is the main train station. It's the bottom end of it, but it's quite fancy. And this is the river. And on that other side, I had to cut the sound off because there's just music blaring. On the other side, there's all these restaurants where you can eat. And of course, on the weekend, they're just jam-packed full. And then there's lots of, they're European trees, but there's a big, nice walkway that you can walk down near the river. I guess they're sort of trying to copy Paris. I think this bridge might be called Immigration Bridge or something. There's an immigration museum right behind it if you go down to the street level. And there's a bit about Indigenous Australians on the bridge as well, not just people who've arrived since. And some lovely autumn trees. And there's this big, massive, massive sign because all these trucks keep getting stuck under bridges they just drive straight into these low bridges in South Melbourne. It's like this big thing. There's one bridge in particular, trucks just always get jammed under there. Like they're just like, oh, I'll make it. And they just drive and of course they get stuck. And yeah, this one particular bridge has a Twitter account. That's how frequently trucks get jammed onto there. So here we are at the little shopping centre where the fabric store is. It's up on the next level. So I'm going up on the escalator and there's a coffee shop. Here we go, Spotlight. It's actually got like home furnishings and loads of different things, so you have to walk through all the boring stuff where all the husbands just stand and read the backs of things, and to go like the fabric store. I think Spotlights used to be just fabric stores, but then they started doing linen, like towels and things, and made to measure curtains, and then they sort of every few years they add things, I think. And there's this just random stand that you have to walk past that has clearance stuff, and it's still got Easter things on there. And I got distracted by I think this is like a gardening section. I haven't been to this store in quite some time. And there's these tiny little pots, and I think they're $3, and they're pretty cool. I have enough fabric flowers, but I always like looking at them because some of them are just good quality fabric flowers are really expensive, as they should be. Like if something takes time to craft and to make, then it should be, that should be reflected in the price. But yeah, so I'm not going to go mad and buy every single beautiful one, but some of them are just absolutely beautiful. I follow Custom Fabric Flowers New York on Instagram, and they do these reels where that's a steel, like a metal stamp or mold where they sort of press the fabric in between, and then they glue each of the petals to each other to form the flower. And they do these reels where they show you how they do it. I mean, I know there's YouTube instruction videos on how to make flowers, but if you want to see the experts do it, they just make it look so easy, and the flowers they create are just magic. Anyway, back to this. And stores always mix colours and like create colour combinations that I wouldn't necessarily think of. So it makes me rethink my assumptions about what colours mix well, or, you know, which ones work well together. And I love I think those ones are supposed to be gum flowers and some beautiful blossoms. There's just so many different, I always love the roses and the peonies, but those dark red dahlias are absolutely beautiful at the top there. I just like looking at them all. I mean, I love real flowers more, but some of the fabric flowers, look, this fir tree branch is pretty realistic looking. Some of them are amazing, but when you're making a floral jacket, you have to take out the plastic bit in the center. So when I'm looking at flowers, I always have to remember, well, actually, by the time you take that big, beautiful, detailed blob out of plastic in the center, it actually wouldn't, I'm not sure it'd have the same visual impact. Oh, and this is me reminding myself that I still haven't finished the wine-coloured fabric flower jacket. There's some sort of brown or beige roses that would do really well with that jacket. I'm tempted, but I won't. I think I've actually got a few sort of beigey brown roses already, but I've sort of allocated them to a different jacket. I might fish out all my fabric flowers that I actually have at home and find them. Oh, I love this one. I'm just trying to work out how I could do that in beading and like give the same visual impact as one of those pea cactus. I'm not sure what you call them, but yeah. And this one is adorable. You could cut off each of those little cactus succulent heads and stitch them on individually. I've got sort of this grey mauve set of flowers, and yeah, I think it would be absolutely beautiful in that. I've got some grey succulent heads, but they're quite large. There's like 6 or 7 of them, but they're so big. I'm still trying to figure out how to cut them down. That the miniature ones would be perfect. And these little gum leaves look so realistic. Some of the pots are incredibly beautiful too. Now I'm really getting distracted. So then I go back and look at more greenery. The birds of paradise are amazing. They're just so beautiful, but of course they're too big. You couldn't actually use them on a jacket. I suppose if you made a floral coat you could, but that's a bit too much of a statement for me. I love variegated leaves. They're so pretty, but it was like, I can't remember, like 25. Oh, here it's like got for the 4 different prices. So Spotlight is a store owned by like one of those. There's stores in Australia, New Zealand, Malaysia, and Singapore. So I know most of the viewers of this channel are in Europe or America. And yeah, so you don't get down to Australia very much. But I think Singapore and Malaysia are not quite as long a flight. So yeah, I think there's different things in each store. They do have an online store, but you have to be in one of those countries to get things sent to you. It's like Joann's. You know when you order online from Joann's and you might only order 6 things and sometimes you get 5 packages? It's the same with Spotlight. Like your order goes to Central HQ or whatever, I think. And then, whatever store needs an order, they get the bulk of the order. And then the other things come from whichever. These leaves are fabulous. I was so tempted with this one. but I think it was like $25 or something. I was like, no. I've already got like so much to use up already. I think I should just use up the fabric flowers and foliage that I have before I buy any more. But I do love these tiles with, I think you're supposed to hang them on the wall or something out in your garden. And they're pretty amazing. Some of the more realistic ones are amazing. And then, yeah, we're in the homeware section. Oh, I used to live in Scotland. One side of my family is Scottish, the other is English. And I worked at the office for the Edinburgh Fringe. It's like the largest arts festival in the world. And one of the things we sold most was the Highland Cow postcards. Like, oh my God, we would sell just dozens of them every single day. Like, people will come in and ask for directions or ask for help and things. And now I'm finally in the fabric section, and we've found the threads. Oh, I like this thread. It's poly cotton thread, and I'm such a nerd. So I use Gutermann for my machine because it's not fluffy and it's really high quality. But when you're hand stitching beads on, you need a thread that's slightly thicker than a Gutermann thread, because a Gutermann thread can sort of be too sharp to do beading with, because it's too fine and too anyway, so I really like that thread, and every now and again they have this sale where it's 10 for $10. So yes, at the end I'll go back and get 10 of those. And this is the buttons. They're just so all colourful and pretty and exciting looking. And then I just tend to skip the boring bits. So I mean, if you want, I can go back and look at certain things, but I tend to sort of gloss over the bits that I'm not interested in that day. Like, each time I go, I look at different things. Oh, and you can, like, if you live overseas, I know a couple of people in the UK who just buy stuff and have it sent to their relatives or friends in Australia, and then when all the packages arrive, they have it shipped to the UK. But you do, like, customs is a bit tricky, getting packages into the UK. And so if you've got a friend you want to annoy, I suppose you can do it that way. So, these braids are really nice. Some of them, I'm always looking for trims. Like, I don't actually, this leaf embroidery sort of, that trim would be absolutely gorgeous on a tweed jacket. I mean, I don't use them, but I don't know, sometimes they're inspiring. And there's this one that's a braid of really, like, the silver ones are absolutely gorgeous. Like, you could do beads in that type of, that ended up looking sort of like that, sort of diagonal lines of beads. And this braid is absolutely gorgeous. Like, if you used really, really tiny beads and sort of made them look like they were being plaited, that would be amazing. So, and they had these different coloured safety pins. And because I'm going to do a punk jacket, I've got two different types of spike. There's sort of beads, but they've got spikes, and you just stitch them on. And then I've got some safety pins in brass and safety pins in silver. I'm not going to get the coloured ones, but I was just looking at the safety pins. And then the next style was another braids and ribbons one. There's some absolutely beautiful braids in here. Really good for if you had a jacket in one of the classic colours and you wanted gold trims on it. I just think that would be amazing. I'm more likely to put gold beads on mine because I've just got so many gold beads to use up. But I mean, they would look just amazing. And there's ones where the braid has like this bit of bias binding on it. And what you do is you sew it in between the two layers, like the outer jacket and the inner and the lining. And then all you can see is the braid along the edge, and the other bit's just sewn in to. And I found this fringe is pretty fabulous. It's got like diamantes in it or something. And then they had these cute little flowers, and then they had this giant pom-pom that matched it. So I guess you can make yourself a little fancy beanie with the pom-pom, and the flowers on the hat would match. Anyway, I found the quilting section, and they're in colour coordinated order. I think that's the Day of the Dead fabric. There's lots of different, I think I was in the novelty section, but they also have some standard, like loads of standard fabrics. I love the daisy ones. They've got some really nice daisy patterns at the moment. You know how they go through cycles, and yeah, I love it. That one's pretty too. That one's really, really pretty. I would totally make a jacket, like one of those summer reversible jackets out of that one. And jelly beans. And then that one's pretty. I love every floral fabric. Oh, every time I show that dress I made out of the May Gibbs fabric. It's just this Australian, she wrote stories, but there's these specific illustrations and it's called May Gibbs. Anyway, you can only buy them in Australia because when the author died, she left her rights to some charity or something. And the charity only has domain in Australia. So that's why I always get this question whenever I show May Gibbs fabric. So yes, you have to know someone in Australia. They can purchase it and they can send it to you as a gift, but it's not allowed to be printed outside Australia. So that is why you find it so difficult to find. So yeah, every single time I show, like there's even a glimpse of it, I get questions. So that is the mystery behind that. So you can buy it pretty much anywhere in Australia, but yeah, it can't be made outside Australia. And these are the batiks. So it's a particular way of printing designs onto fabric, and it means that the back of the fabric and the front are the same. And these are the Australian ones, and it's got hundreds and thousands on there. It's fairy bread, and yeah, apparently only Australians know about fairy bread. I was just astounded when I found this out. It's like, you know, the little bits of candy that you put on a cupcake to make it look multicolored. Well, in Australia at birthday parties, you do have cupcakes, but as well you have like white bread with margarine or butter, and then you sprinkle they're called hundreds and thousands in Australia, on top of them, and they just look pretty. And when you eat them, they're crunchy and they're candy, but it's like a open sandwich as well. I guess you had to be there, but they're very adorable and they look pretty is the point too. There was more in the quilting section, but it got a bit crowded. So I moved into this section here. This is like where you custom make drapes and things. And there was like no one in that section. So I assume it's really busy during the week. And I think we might stop the fabric store visit there for the moment. I'll just make the other half a second video, because I realized after a brief stop in the bead section, I just went and looked at more cotton prints that are basically all florals. And so yeah, we'll break that up and put that in another video. And then and then I did eventually get onto some of the other fabrics as well. But yeah, I think I'm just kind of obsessed with florals at the moment, and so everything I looked at pretty much was florals. So yes, we'll do a separate video for that. And in the meantime, I did buy some fabrics so I can show you what I purchased. And yeah, I do stop by the clearance table as well in the second half, and then before finally making it to the evening wear fabrics that are absolutely beautiful. But there were already some absolute gems in the quilting section. So let's take it. Oh, I regret not getting that one. It's so pretty. Oh, there are so many gorgeous ones. And I love that sunflowers. It's actually got sparrows on it, but I've already got this other floral that has sparrows on it. Well, they're not sparrows. There's some kind of bird that looks like a sparrow. So anyway, let's look at what I got. Let's look at my goodies. Ooh, coffee. But I'm easily distracted or anything. Okay, here we are, my sewing HQ. And I've got some jackets on here because most of the fabrics I bought are going to be turned into jackets. So this is a Chanel style jacket. I haven't had the dragonfly jacket out in a while, so I just thought I'd take a close up for no apparent reason. And this jacket just took us so long to make. and because the actual fabric is really quite delicate, so there was a lot of hand sewing involved. And then of course I doubled down and did loads of beading over the top of it. Anyway, so this one is the Chanel style jacket, and then the other two are cropped reversible spring sort of jackets. So yeah, let's look at the 5 fabrics I bought, and I'll tell you which jacket I had in mind when I was buying it. So I just got 5 cottons, and they're it's like a yard or a meter of each of the fabrics. So this one here, I actually, years ago, I bought this fabric, and I bought 2 yards of it, and I made a dress using Butterick 6677, one of my all-time favourite patterns. It's just a really simple pull-on dress, and then I actually made a matching sash to go around the waist as well. And I just, you know how in the in the 1950s and early 60s they had those sort of matching sets. So I've got the dress already, and then I saw this and I was like, oh, I could make a matching little coat or little jacket to go over the top of it, and it would look absolutely darling. So that is why I bought that one, to make so the jacket with the sort of rounded fronts. And this one, I love the bows on it, and I just love the colours. I love everything about this, but the pink bows in particular, sort of, I don't know, they seem very Gucci-ish to me. So yeah, I bought this, and I mean, I suppose I could make a Chanel style jacket out of it and then bead, because I actually have pink bow beads, because of course I do, but I also have some green ones as well, and lots of black beads, and bright yellow ones, and hot pink ones. So I could just bead over everything and accentuate points. Or I could just make a cotton reversible summer vintage style jacket, which I think is what I would do. But it's got a lot of potential, this one, and I just love the bows. The big, where is it? Yeah, the big sort of fluffy bows. I think they're gorgeous. So yeah, it was just a really pretty fabric. So that is why I bought that one. 2 down, 3 to go. This one is hilarious. It is just so huge. Like, I'm a slight person. I've got the tiniest shoulders imaginable, and I just thought it was funny. Like the first one that I showed you is like a normal size floral, and this one is giant. So if I wanted to wear an outfit that looks sort of vintage classic 1960s, I could wear the matching dress and jacket of that first fabric. But if I wanted to look like a little bit more psychedelic 60s, I could wear the conservative dress, print on the dress, but with a a vintage style summer reversible jacket in this much bolder print. So yeah, and the flowers, I think they're supposed to be Australian flowers, like this pink one with the purple in the middle, that's supposed to be a Sturt's desert pea, and the actual flower is red with instead of the purple in the middle, it's black. And the wattle, the yellow dots, that's actually wattle. And so I think they're supposed to be all Australian wildflowers, but they're basically just cartoons, really. But I liked it, and so yeah, that's what I bought it. Definitely going to make a jacket out of that one. This one here, I just don't have anything like this, and yeah, I thought I would bead over you could bead over the flowers. Like, originally I bought it because I was like, oh, I could just make a vintage cotton reversible jacket out of it, because, I don't have anything like that sort of tiled flower. I hardly ever buy that sort of fabric. I usually just buy straight up florals. But if I made it into a Chanel style jacket and then over beaded it, see how the dragonfly jacket has sort of 1 bead per square? Well, I was thinking, because the squares on this fabric here, the squares are quite big, I could do beading along the lines, but also in each one I could do like a beads over the flower, and then on the stalk flowers I could do lots of different beads. Or I also have sequins, so I could do, there's this way that you make flowers that are out of sequins and beads. So I could just do individual flowers on each one. I can either put a huge amount of time into it and make it a beaded Chanel style jacket, or I can just do a summer reversible cotton one. And this one I bought because it's absolutely lovely. I like the leaves, but also I just didn't have a floral in this particular genre and these colors. Like I love beige, and yeah, but I also really like the clusters of the pink flowers. So you could like do mounds of seed beads over the top of them, and then just a few little strings of rows of beads using bugle beads on the leaves, and it would just, yeah, if you made it into a Chanel style jacket and over beaded it, it would be an amazing evening wear piece. Well, I mean, I'd just wear it with during the day with the t-shirt and jeans, because of course I would. Or alternatively, I could just make a summer vintage style reversible jacket out of it. So yeah, I guess the easiest option is to just make summer jackets out of them all. But I don't know, how many summer jackets does one person need? How many tweed jackets does one person need? I think these are questions I shouldn't be asking myself, given how many jackets I already have. But yes, those are the fabrics I bought. Well, it's half the fabrics I bought. And after you've seen the next half of the store visit, I'll show you the other 5 fabrics. I mean, if you're absolutely dying of anticipation, here is a sneak peek, because I mean, you just watched the entire video. So yeah, well, hopefully you actually enjoyed. So these are the ones from that I've just shown you, and these are the other 5 here. So it's just 5 more cottons, but there's a couple of poplins, and there's a canvas. The top blue with the flowers, light blue with the flowers on it, is a cotton canvas. So yes, and one last longing look at the dragonfly jacket. Oh my gosh, sometimes I look at my jackets and I'm like, you put how much work into a single garment? But once you do, I mean, you're gonna have it forever. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed visiting a fabric store with me, and I hope you've been inspired to rummage through your fabric stash and find some fabrics you've forgotten you had. Whenever I watch a fabric store video, visiting a fabric store video that someone else does, it always, yeah, I'm always like, right, I want to go through my fabrics now, find something fun to work with. So yes, hope you've been inspired. Happy sewing.